The meeting will be starting in 5 minutes. Again, for any of the folks who might have joined us, we just want you to know that if you're interested in making a public comment, you can do so by, if you're in the app, you can use the raise the hand button. And if you're calling in via phone, you can press *9 to indicate that you would like to speak when we get to the public comment portion. All right, Steve, if we can just test your audio really quickly, make sure everyone can hear you.
Testing.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks.
We're 2 minutes out from the meeting starting before 7 p.m. All right, my clock shows at 7 o'clock, so we will go ahead and get started.
All right, it is 7 o'clock. Time to call the meeting to order. The items in tonight's agenda are matters necessary to respond to the COVID-19 outbreak and the current public health emergency. With that, Heather, could you please do a roll call?
Cheney.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Carter.
Here.
Hogan.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Burton.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Before I open the public comment period, I want to let everyone know that at the end of last week, we launched a public comment follow-up website on our site, or webpage on our sites. And I'm very excited about this. We've heard from citizens that it'd be great to review answers that are asked during our public comment periods and ensure that all citizens can know those responses. So when a public comment is received either at the meeting, on the phone line, or on the public comment email, the question will be routed to the appropriate staff member and an answer will appear on the page as soon as possible, within a week. The response will have the staff contact in the event additional information is needed, and the response of the staff will also follow up directly with the person. We think this will be a fantastic way to get responses back out to all of the citizens. Now for the public comments, if anyone would like to address the council, please indicate you would like to speak by raising your virtual hand on the app of your phone or on your phone, and wait for the clerk to activate your mic. Hands will be called on in the order they are displayed on the meeting clerk screen. Please start by saying your name and address for the record. You will have up to 3 minutes to speak. Heather, I'll hand it back over to you.
All right, I will give a 30-second warning, and then if you hit the 3-minute mark, you'll hear a chime. So with that, we will go ahead and do our first person, Randall Friedman. Go ahead.
Okay, I had to unmute myself. Is that working?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Randall Friedman, 1187 Northwest 10th Avenue in Camas. Thank you for the wonderful Support Local and Save program. It's recognition of downtown's importance and worth significant public investment. Thanks also for the public comment follow-up. It's less than 2 months since I suggested it, and it's off to a great start. I raised the question about the inevitability of North Shore development. The public answer was one word: no. Contrast an email from the city's planning manager, quote, North Shore area owners can develop their land if they choose to, since those lands are within the city limits and have zoning designations assigned to them, unquote. That shows inevitability. Pivot to 3 months ago, and after the guest column I wrote, I asked reconsideration of your decision deferring downtown planning to the North Shore. There has been no response. Silence means city resources continue to North Shore planning. With 9 owners controlling 97% of the land, free to do as they wish, why are we paying for planners, consultants, etc.? Why don't we let these owners pay for our review of what they want like everyone else does? My guest column never said the North Shore shouldn't develop. It said, quote, development scale needs coordination with a future downtown Camas that considers a repurposed mill property, a plan keeping Camas centered on a vibrant downtown, unquote. Camas residents seem to agree, saying downtown planning, if not first, be concurrent and in full sync to planning the North Shore. My ask from 2 months ago remains. This council reconsiders the decision to put our planning resources on the North Shore. A different North Shore process can continue, but some form of downtown planning start to recognize downtown Camas is our past, present, and future. It is our ultimate legacy land. The overwhelming majority will agree. We await an answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Randall. And thank you for your, it was one of your suggestions, I think, that initially kind of registered 2 months ago. So yes. And then in regards to the North Shore, I mean, and again, just from a clarification standpoint, with the North Shore, we're just looking at rezoning it so that if there is any building in those properties, that we as the community have a voice as far as what that looks like. And, you know, again, in today's economic climate, we're going to be looking at other things as well. So as far as where we're going, I'm not sure, but thank you very much for that. And then we can, Phil, can you add or kind of put more information, I guess, on the questionnaire around the North Shore? I know you've answered a lot of those questions, but maybe we can add that to this one as well.
All right, next we have Phil W. Go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, please proceed.
All right, thank you. Phil Williams, 936 Northeast 41st. So as I understand it, Camas has a strong mayor form of government, which means that the mayor builds an agenda, directs staff to execute that agenda, and council's there as a check on funding when needed. I recall former Mayor Shannon Turk describing the concept a bit during the second pool bond open house last year when she asked that the city trust her on the bond, and if we couldn't trust her, to trust the council as a check on her. Our current mayor, McDonald, met Mayor Turk for a debate last October at the Firehouse, and in that forum, he stated 3 areas of focus as a candidate. The first was land. The mayor said he wanted to ensure that we have strong regulations and policies in place to stand up for and to protect the things we value. The legacy lands recently purchased by the city don't seem to have meaningful legal protections, unfortunately, Mr. Mayor. For that reason, they seem a perfect example to apply your promised focus, but I haven't seen it just yet. As I read it, it's actually a fairly simple process currently to convert those legacy lands, if desired, to just about anything else. So do you, our strong mayor with a focus on land, plan to do any work to strengthen those legacy lands protections with some teeth, some of the strong regulations and policies you once spoke of? Your second focus point, Mr. Mayor, was people. You said when it comes to the people, I'm big on open communication and town hall meetings where we can have open dialogue and open up our city meetings so that people feel heard. Those town hall meetings and open dialogue sounded great at the time. In an ideal town hall, a confident mayor stands on stage, citizens line up at microphones, they ask unmoderated questions in the order they stand, and they receive unmoderated answers from the mayor. It sounds refreshing to say it out loud, and it's exactly the thing that a strong mayor could choose to do with a historic 90% mandate that helped elect him or her into office. So again, will you have those town halls with open dialogues, Mr. Mayor? I won't overlook that we got a highly managed think tank with 2 to 3 staff members controlling and filtering conversations at every citizen table and a lot of sticky notes on the wall and no real takeaways from that evening. I'll acknowledge the initial effort, but I need to say it doesn't feel like the 90% effort that the people who put you in office deserve. So you finish, Mr. Mayor, by saying thirdly, honesty and being very transparent were your third pillar. So to transparency, last week, as you mentioned, the city posted a public comment webpage. It's a step the city chose to take only after council unanimously voted to officially restrict public comment further than ever before, and on the transparency mayor's watch, no less. So that answers webpage doesn't currently list question authors. It doesn't state where their questions were asked. So why would the city take away the voice of citizens? You had to clarify, Mr. Mayor, just now that Randall Friedman was part of that question. So why don't you list
Time
that?
has lapsed, Phil.
Thank you, Phil. There was a few questions, I guess, there. And when it comes to land, people, and honesty, yeah, I mean, 3.5 months that I've been in my position, I'm actually very proud with what we've put together and you know, some of the things that we've been able to do around the communication. And that will, you know, continue to grow. In regards to the council meetings themselves, I mean, this is the council meeting where this is the only council gets together and discusses business. That's what the purpose of these meetings are. Those meetings have to be conducted in public. The council has said that the beginning of those meetings and the end of those meetings, there's going to be public comments sections in there, and that's the choice that they do. They're the ones that are voted by the citizens in those positions, and those are the ones that make those decisions. And I'm going to, you know, that's their decision. And in regards to, again, you know, the honesty and the land of people, again, you know, it's I'm proud with what we've gotten so far, and I'm very proud with what the team has done around the communication. And we'll make mistakes. We'll continue to adjust, but we're continuing to get better. And again, I'm very proud of everyone. So thank you for your comments.
And Scott M.
Hello, are you there?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, thank you. Scott McElhaney, 4227 Northwest Sage Loop here in Camas. I want to thank you for making the change to allow the construction to continue. I know there was a lot of input that went into that, a lot of analysis, had a lot to look at, I think both times being that you made the decision to discontinue and then the decision to continue. I think both of those were timely and appropriate, and I'm glad to see they're out there continuing to work. Kudos to the city of Camas for the communication, the external communication. I think that website was a positive step. You know, I think taking the input from the public, I think that's what it's all about. That's where the ideas come from. That's the whole political purpose behind having a council, a mayor, citizens to get input. the process. They come out with output. I think that was a great thing to get. Relevant to the North Shore, again, last council meeting, it was decided to buy the lands. I think that was an excellent decision. Still pretty early to decide what to do with them, although from what I understand, the idea is to keep them open to the public, maintained as appropriately as we can. I really appreciate that. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott, for sharing your thoughts.
Okay, and then just for the record, we had one email public comment that was submitted by Douglas Strabel, which was distributed to council prior to this meeting via email. The topic is expense reduction for the current and future financial well-being of Camas, and it was sent on Monday, April 20th, 2020 at 5:53 p.m. And back to you, Mayor.
All right. So now we're at the consent agenda. Our first item is the consent agenda. What would council like to do with the consent agenda? Sorry. What would the council like to do?
Move for approval.
It has been moved by Smith
Seconded.
and seconded to approve the agenda. Any discussion? And I'll go around the table here. Councilmember Hogan.
Everybody's still muted.
Sorry. Anything, Councilmember Hogan?
No comments.
Councilmember Corder?
No comments.
Councilmember Roberts? Shannon, you're still on mute, sorry.
Sorry, no comments, thank you.
Councilmember Smith?
No comments.
Councilmember Burton?
No comment.
Councilmember Cheney?
Nothing at this time, thank you.
And then Councilmember Anderson.
No comments, thank you.
All right. And I just wanted to mention, last week was National Telecommunications Week, and I signed a proclamation recognizing the critical support the organizations like Clark Regional Emergency Service Agency, also known as CRESA, provide to our communities. The proclamation was distributed to council, the leadership of CRESA, and shared on our city social media. I had also two other things. One, today is Jack Harrington's birthday, who was Camas's first mayor. So if you did not know, today is his birthday. 1906 was when he was the first mayor. And then I just wanted to thank all of the citizens. I know it's been very challenging. I know it's been very difficult, and many people have had many different stresses in regards to this stay-at-home order and all the challenges that go around with that. But I just appreciate everyone's commitment to it, and the results are there. I mean, I think the results are fantastic in some regards. So thank you for everyone's efforts around that. All right, so now getting to the meeting items. The first item is the reaffirmation of the April 6, 2020 motion confirming the cities of Camas proclamation of civil emergency dated March 18th, 2020.
Mr. Mayor.
Sorry, can you not hear me? Jennifer, would you please tell us about it?
So I'm going to do a point of order first. I think we skipped over the actual approval of the consent agenda.
I totally did. I apologize. I'm jumping the gun here. So going back to all in favor as far as the consent agenda.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. So I apologize, Jennifer and Heather. Sorry about that. So now, we can jump right back into then if you can tell us about the reaffirmation, Jennifer.
Sure. So the first item, good evening, Mayor and Council. The first item before you tonight is the reaffirmation of the proclamation of civil emergency, which was signed by the mayor on March 18th, 2020. This motion of reaffirmation will includes the two process-related clarifications made by Councilmember Cheney at the April 6th, 2020 meeting. Those clarifications were, one, to place the proclamation on subsequent meetings until the proclamation is lifted, and two, any COVID-related emergency contract purchases be in consult with the finance director. So at this time, if there's no discussion, if you have discussion, fine. If there is no discussion, staff would recommend that council reaffirm the April 6, 2020 council meeting motion confirming the City of Camas proclamation of civil emergency dated March 18, 2020. It's rather long motion.
All right, so are there any motions?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the April 6, 2020 council meeting motion to confirm the City of Camas proclamation of civil emergency dated March 18th, 2020 be reaffirmed.
Second.
Second.
All right, it has been moved by Carter and seconded to reaffirm the April 6, 2020 motion confirming the City of Camas's proclamation of civil emergency dated March 18th, 2020. Any discussion? And we'll go around. Councilmember Hogan.
No discussion.
Councilmember Carter.
No discussion.
Councilmember Roberts.
None.
Councilmember Smith.
No, Mayor.
Councilmember Burton.
No, the situation still remains the same.
Councilmember Cheney.
No, thank you.
And Councilmember Anderson.
No, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Our next item is the April 15th, 2020 supplement to the City of Camas proclamation of civil emergency issued March 18th, 2020. Jennifer, would you introduce this, please, to the council?
Sure. So before you this evening is a supplement to the proclamation of civil emergency, and this supplement is related to expenditure saving measures for the City of Camas. This supplement was signed on April 15th by the mayor and is before you tonight for ratification. The supplement includes 6 items. I'll walk through them. 1, a moratorium on the hiring of new employees into budgeted positions with exceptions to be granted by the mayor. 2, overtime limited to emergency and unavoidable circumstances. 3, a moratorium on the hiring of any seasonal staff with exceptions to be granted by the mayor. 4, no business travel, conference attendance, or training except as required by law and with very limited exceptions. 5, all departments shall continue to maintain their ongoing strict adherence to their budgets. And 6, city capital projects deemed non-essential will be placed on hold. If there is no discussion, staff would recommend that council ratify the April 15th, 2020 supplement to the City of Camas proclamation of civil emergency issued March 18th, 2020.
Does council have any questions? And we'll go around the horn here. Councilmember Hogan.
No comments.
Councilmember Carter.
No more comments.
Councilmember Roberts.
No questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Smith.
None, thank you.
Councilmember Burton.
Yes, I have several questions, please.
Yes.
Okay, so these are really good steps that the city has taken to immediately reduce spending, stop any hiring, and take the steps that we need to do to make sure that we can emerge from this situation financially strong. So my question is, actually I have 3. What is the impact on spending? What's the impact on reserves? How many months do we expect our reserves to last? Going into this, we had about 4 months of cash. Actually it's 5 questions. We've had some attrition in our fire department, 4 people, a retirement, a couple people left for new opportunities and so on. So that typically drives overtime. So I'm curious what's expected there. And then lastly, we received some comments from Mr. Strabel regarding financial cuts and particularly looking at contract renegotiation and reviewing contracts. So those are my questions. Impact on spending, reserves, overtime for fire, and contract renegotiation and review. Thank you. And I'll mute.
Kathy, do you want to take that?
Sure. Good evening. The impact on spending, as we're anticipating that some of these mitigating factors would help us in our short term and as protocols are long-term. So if we do these right now, and have them implement through 2020, that will help us maintain some of our fund balances longer. Not knowing what the duration of the stay-at-home proclamation will be, we are anticipating, if we do these actions, that I'm grouping all your questions together, but the reserves will help us get through to the month of July. But that doesn't mean that we're going to wait till July. If things don't start opening up and moving, we're probably going to be looking at other options. We'll be revisiting this. We revisit this every week, but we'll be revisiting this with council on May 5th, the May 4th meeting, with some, with what we're seeing and what we're hearing and what our current projections are. If we're still in this through the month of June, we will probably have another meeting with council, and we will go stage 2. And stage 2 might involve other options, not excluding some harder choices that we've already talked about in some of the videos that the mayor and I have talked through with the public. Fund balance, we are anticipating that it could be that we will reach our policy limit at the month of July if we don't open up to the economic changes. The governor doesn't, and the proclamations don't open up further parts of the economy between now and July. As for the attrition and fire, we've had conversations with the fire chief as of today, and with the mayor, as well as with the administrative services director. And we think we have a plan going forward with how to that situation, but you'll hear more in the next couple weeks as we work through that. And as for contractual negotiations, we haven't reached that step yet, but that probably might be a phase 2 step, if not a phase 3.
I forgot who we went through now. Any other questions? Or Shannon Roberts?
No questions.
Councilmember Smith?
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Burton? Councilmember Cheney? I'm sorry, I went back around again. I just missed Cheney and Anderson, the last two. So
no, but I want to thank Councilmember Burton for questions that she asked. 2 are on my list, and they've been answered. So I have nothing further. Thank you.
And then, as Kathy said, on the 4th, is it, Kathy will be presenting to the council a more detailed financial overview at that point, where we stand and what all of the options are.
Right.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes.
You have to read.
Point of order, sir, we need to actually have a motion.
Right. Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move that the April 15th, 2020 supplement to the City of Camas proclamation of civil emergency issued March 18th, 2020 be ratified.
Second.
It has been moved by Smith and seconded to reaffirm the April 6, 2020 motion confirm the City of Camas proclamation of emergency dated April 18th, 2020. Did I get that correct? All right, we're moving on. Our next item is the April 15, 2020 supplements of the civil, or did we just do that one? I'm sorry, I'm all over the place here. Are we on the final resolution, Jennifer?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm back on track. I'm getting distracted here. Our final item is the resolution number 20-004, adoption of the.
Sorry to interrupt. Did we get the vote from everybody? We did the motion and the second, but I don't believe we took the vote.
Yes, we did.
Should we do it one more time then? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. We're back on track. Our final item is the resolution number 20-004, adoption of the Support Local and Save program. This was an idea that Councilmember Roberts had brought to Kathy. Kathy, could you please introduce this to the council?
Absolutely, with pleasure. Before you is Resolution 20-004, confirming the adoption of the Support Local and Save program. This resolution confirms the program to support local businesses and support our utility customers during this pandemic. It has been very positively received by the community. It should be pointed out that in this body of this, there has been some confusion about the dates of the resolution Exhibit A, referring to May 4th, which is tied to the proclamation. Unfortunately, some information, there's an expectation in the community that this will last till May 31st. So this is up to the council to whether or not they would like to change that to May 31st. It is staff's recommendation that council approve resolution 20-004. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
So we'll go around and see if you have any questions. Councilmember Hogan.
Yes, I do have a comment. I think that we should extend this till May 31st. I think it's a good program. I appreciate Councilmember Roberts suggesting it, and May 31st seems like a good idea to me.
Thank you. Councilmember Corder.
Sorry, I couldn't quite.
Councilmember Carter, any questions? No. Councilmember Roberts?
Yes, I have one. I just want everyone to know that that suggestion was passed to me from a Washougal resident. So I didn't think of it on my own or see it. So it was passed to me to put forward to the public. And I'm just glad that we were able to do that. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you for bubbling it up, Councilmember Roberts. Councilmember Smith?
No, I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Councilmember Burton?
Question, Kathy, what kind of impact do we expect this to have financially?
We expect it to really to be it'll be a big impact to the customers. It'll be a big impact hopefully to the community, but to our general fund, we're anticipating that it will be a neutral event between the utilities and the general fund.
Great. It's a great program. Thank you.
Councilmember Cheney?
My only comment is agreeing with Councilmember Hogan to extend it to May 31st. I hope we see that in the motion.
Councilmember Anderson?
Also supporting extending it through May 31st.
All right. Are there any motions?
Mr. Mayor, I move that resolution number 20-004 with the end date correction to reflect May 31st and Exhibit A be read by title only.
Second.
All right. It has been moved by Carter and seconded that resolution number 20-004 be read by title only. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? The motion passes.
Resolution number 20-004, a resolution confirming the adoption of the Support Local and Save program.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move that resolution number 20-004 with the end date correction to reflect May 31st and Exhibit A be adopted.
Second.
It is being moved by Carter and seconded that resolution number 20-004 be adopted. Any discussion? And we'll go around again. Councilmember Hogan.
No discussion.
Councilmember Carter.
Nothing further.
Councilmember Roberts.
None, thank you.
Councilmember Smith.
None, thank you.
Councilmember Burton.
No, thank you.
Councilmember Cheney.
No comment, thank you.
Councilmember Anderson.
Nothing further, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes. And that takes us back to the public comments. If anyone would like to address the council, please indicate you would like to speak by raising your virtual hand on the app or your phone and wait for the clerk to activate your sounds. Please start by stating your name and address for the record. You will have up to 3 minutes to speak. Heather, I will hand it back over to you.
All right, we're going to start off with Douglas S. Go ahead. There, you should now be able to speak if you want to go ahead. Douglas? Douglas, can you hear us? Okay, we'll go ahead and go on to the next person and try to circle back to him. All right, next is Randall Friedman. Go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you again, Mayor McDonald, for your action to significantly increase the transparency of council meetings. And thank you, all of you, for your action to protect our downtown. The last couple of months shows its need for long-term survival. Now to a larger picture. Georgia Pacific recently surveyed the 27-acre lab site. Consider the flip side of the wonderful news of their $15 million package boiler investment. Georgia Pacific closes an extremely inefficient old boiler at the mill's periphery. The replacement is a small boiler next to the remaining line. This allows shutdown of their 6th Avenue property. It reduces impacts on the 27-acre, even more valuable. Closure of the old boilers and surrounding buildings opens the door to consider appropriate cleanup consistent with ongoing operations. Now imagine our downtown with several thousand more people living in it. Imagine a corporate campus overlooking downtown from the old lab property. Imagine a new medical clinic. Imagine a vibrancy that can survive a pandemic. This vision provides downtown's long-term survival. This is why we must immediately start downtown planning. Please review what I've submitted in the past. Please ask your constituents. I think most will get at the vision future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Randall, for sharing your thoughts on that. Thank you.
All right, we will go to Scott M.
Here I am. Hang on. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I want to comment on the financial impact of the utilities, and you said that there was a net zero impact. So I don't expect you to answer it, but I was kind of confused. I didn't know what that meant. But I still think it's a great program. One recommendation I would say, it's very, very generous. I was a little surprised that it was overly generous. I was very happy, but you know, maybe make 2 programs, or maybe make a individual where instead of $15, it's $5 or something, so people spend more money. I certainly would be willing to do that for the same amount of credit. I think that was wonderful. But either way, I think it's a great program. I want to comment on, I saw some public comments relative to the land that we purchased from the last meeting and the value of that land versus the assessed value. And I think people tend to misstate or misunderstand the difference between market value and assessed value. As we know, something might be assessed at whatever, 100,000, but it might be a market value of $1 million. So I'm happy with what we paid. I think it was a great investment, and I believe that we got a good deal. And I think it was even under what could have been market value. And I think the purpose for which it was purchased was fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. And then Kathy, did you want to just a comment around the net zero, I guess, around the shop and save? Or just the effect that it has overall, I guess. It's not that big of an impact, I think, is what you're alluding to as far as the dollars go.
Well, the anticipation is that the sales that are generated will exceed what we're the contribution toward the utility bills. That's what we're hoping for.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. We have Phil W. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. So just to start, as I look at the screen here, I see Councilmember Steve Hogan, Shannon Roberts, Greg Anderson, Bonnie Carter, Melissa Smith, Ellen Burton, and Don Cheney. Mayor Barry McDonald, Jennifer, interim city admin there. And in the past 2 weeks, city attorney up there as well, Sean. In the past 2 weeks since my last comment when I mentioned the city is not allowing citizens to externally record these meetings. None of you have spoken up in that meeting or this meeting. Nobody's reached out privately. I've tried to have conversations, and I've not gotten an answer as to why. There is nothing public that I've seen and nothing that's been provided to me that says allowing citizens to record these meetings is a security vulnerability, because it's not. And it's just a choice you guys are making. And it's consistent through these 2 meetings now. So to state that, and then Mayor McDonald, just to go back to my opening comment and just hopefully push one more time for an answer maybe. I mentioned your first pillar, land. You saying that you wanted to ensure we had strong regulations and policies in place to stand up for and to protect the things we value. And then I said specifically that the legacy lands recently purchased by the city don't seem to have meaningful legal protections, unfortunately. And they seem a perfect example to apply your focus, but I haven't seen that in this transaction. And as I read it, it's very simple to currently to convert those lands, if desired, to any other use. So do you, our strong mayor with a focus on land, plan to do any work to strengthen those legacy lands protections with some teeth, some actual legal language with Sean up there, some of the strong regulations and policies you once spoke of and that you are entirely capable of doing with the city's form of government? That is my question. Thank you.
Again, I stand by what I said as far as, yeah, we want to make sure that we're doing everything the best that we can. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking for me to answer in that regard, as far as what specifically I should be doing or should not be doing. There's many different focuses right now, and obviously, the land is an important one. But if there's something specific, please send that our way. I'll take a look, or Sean can take a look at that as well. But again, I don't know specifically what you're implying with that right now, currently. But thank you. Any other questions there, Heather, or any other comments?
Yes, we have Todd S. Let's see. Saying that he's on an older version of Zoom. And so that it doesn't enable to talk. Let's give this a try. Todd, can you hear us? Scott, unfortunately, we're not able to connect with you. So if you could please email us your public comment, we will make sure that that does get routed to staff and to council. And so we'll go ahead and move on. All right. The email address is publiccomments@cityofcamas.us. That can be found at our City of Camas website as well. We'll go ahead and try reconnecting to Douglas, but I don't see a way to activate his sound, but we'll give it a shot and see. Douglas, can you hear us? All right, well, we did receive your public comment, Douglas. If you have anything further that you'd like to share with council, I'd be happy to distribute that for you. Okay, and it looks like we have Alicia K. Let me go ahead and Alicia K.
Hello.
Go ahead, please.
Are you there?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Awesome. Alicia King, 3457 Northwest Endicott Street. And this is my second meeting in a row I've ever been able to make because I can just turn this on and listen. So again, thank you for that. I love the flexibility. I just wanted to reach out with a gentle reminder. I had sent an email about an urban forestry commission to the mayor and all the council members. I heard back from 2 regarding the email, and I understand that a lot is going on right now. This is not a budget item. This is forming a commission for the trees in Camas. So I'd like either a reply or to get this on an agenda to be discussed at a council meeting or a workshop, or I'd like to see, I'm trying to be proactive about this and not let it get swept under the rug. So anyways, wanted to mention it one more time. I'd love a reply and I'd love some discussion and to see what we can work on. So thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you, Alicia. And I did get that email. Currently, we can't, right now with any of these meetings as well, they should be very specific to the COVID-19. But I did talk briefly with Phil Berkwin, and Phil, maybe you could follow up as well with Alicia, and we can just keep that communication going.
Okay, I currently don't see anyone else indicating via the panel, but however, we did receive an additional emailed public comment from Margaret Tweet. The subject being, please make parks and playgrounds accessible. And that was sent on Monday, April 20th, 2020 at 6:59 p.m. This email will be routed to council and will be included in the record and the minutes. And that's it for public comments.
With that, then, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.